This year, we got to travel to 15 different states.
And in those states, 39 different overnight stops with the RV. Can you believe that?
And out of those 15 states, we narrowed it down to 5.
Yep, just 5. It was tough, but we did it.
And out of those 5 states, there was one state that was so amazing that it made our list 2 years in a row. You're going to want to stay tuned and find out which one it is.
All right, y'all, number 5 on this year's list.
Iowa!
Surprise!
We only got to spend a week in Iowa, and it was one of the states that I was really sad to go. I wanted to try to extend for 2 weeks, but our circumstances would not let us. But we had an amazing, I think it was a county park that we discovered.
Yeah, and what's even more amazing about this park is they had one big loop and they had several campgrounds off of that loop. So, and our spot was really amazing. It was huge.
And we got to see deer, and the complex is so huge. Like Matthew said, once you go in there, they had several campgrounds, everything from full hookups to no hookups, but they had all kinds of trails in there, just all kinds of things to explore that obviously we didn't get time to explore, and I want to explore it.
Yeah, all within the same campground. It was really nice, and it was quiet. I mean, it was getting up towards a holiday, I think.
Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, and it was quiet, y'all. It wasn't radios blasting or anything. It was really, really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's in an area that's not far from the world's largest truck stop. I think there were some restaurants some friends recommended that we didn't get to try yet, and it's close to shopping.
And in Iowa, it was, you know, I grew up thinking Iowa, nothing but cornfields, right? Well, they do have a lot of cornfields. But it's just beautiful rolling hills. It's not just flat as Kansas. No offense to Kansas. We haven't seen you yet, by the way.
Right.
It was really beautiful state, and I'd like to go through there again.
Yes. Our number 4 is
Kentucky. Can y'all believe it? We spent a month in Cave City, and we got to go to the Mammoth Cave National Park and the surrounding area, and we loved it.
It was our first national park as RVers.
Yep.
And Cave City, just the name, y'all. Hello. Caves everywhere. They had private caves and everything. We only got to do one cave tour the whole month we were there.
And when you're there, y'all, you're going to want to make reservations because they book up, but there are so many cave tours within Mammoth Cave. You can do multiple cave tours and not hit the same part of the cave. You might even go in a different part of it, so you gotta look ahead of time.
And also, this was the first state that I have ever driven in the snow. And it was like April, I think, sometime between end of March, beginning of April. I was so excited because I grew up in Mississippi and it snowed on us.
And it was totally unexpected, but y'all, she was so happy about that.
It was such a surprise. But yeah, I was definitely sad to say goodbye to Kentucky because I feel like there was just so much more for us to explore and do.
All right, y'all, our number 3 state is
Utah.
Yay!
This was a state that we got to experience fire on the mountain.
That was an adventure, unexpected. We also got to experience driving on the salt flats and the amazing scenery you got from going out there at night. We saw professional photographers and all their fancy widgets and gizmos. You know you're in the right spot if that's where they are.
We also got to forge our very own hiking trail.
Down a mountain. You got to ski down a mountain.
That's right.
Without snow.
No snow. And yeah, we even recommend that y'all don't do it.
Yeah, don't follow us.
The drive from Monroe, Utah to Moab was amazing.
It's like a national park. It's just your jaw just drops the whole way. It's amazing.
And we finally got to wrap up our stay in Utah at Moab, which is probably the most coveted place for boondockers to want to go.
But we couldn't tell you about it because we got shut out.
So that's why Utah made number 3, because there was a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. But the weather kind of shut us out.
But in any other year, maybe it would be higher on the list, but it's only because of what we got to do.
Number 2 is
South Dakota. And in South Dakota, we got to be in the Black Hills area, and that is amazing, beautiful, and hard to imagine that's actually South Dakota.
I I know. We got to actually spend a lot of time in South Dakota between the Black Hills, Plankington, and we even got to experience an amazing rest area, Chamberlain, South Dakota.
Oh yeah, and it has some history there and an amazing statue. Everybody should see. We loved it.
One of our favorite things about the Black Hills was Custer State Park. Highly recommend it.
And in fact, we went twice. We went once when it was daylight, and we went a second time right after it rained, and that's when all the big herds of buffalo came out, or bison.
It was amazing, and we got to see begging burros.
Yeah, we didn't get trapped by them. We were right behind them, and they were escorting this other vehicle down the road ever so politely.
Another thing we got to experience was the Badlands National Park. Pretty amazing sight to see.
A lot of people's favorite place, and I can see why. It was a lot of fun. It's really fun to explore those places.
And the day we went, it was very windy, but we also got to visit the prairie dog little farm or residence, they called it. They were so cute.
Yeah, like a little village, and they're vocal little critters, aren't they?
And Matthew loved driving Needles Highway.
Oh, make my hair turn gray, y'all. I mean, it is a little nerve-wracking in a big F-350, but it was fine, and we had a lot of fun. And when we went through the highway, through the Needles Highway, there were a lot of people on the other side just watching, just being a spectator. So
yeah, Matthew left the mirrors in. He was really focused.
I wasn't taking any chances.
Yeah, but he had fun driving it.
Yes.
But we actually did it on a Saturday. It was very busy. Maybe
Yes.
you try to do it during the week if you're not wanting to be on all the traffic. And one of my favorite things also of the whole area was seeing Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hiking around Mount Rushmore, within and outside the park. I'll call it a park.
Yeah, we got to hike under the president's noses, which was neat. And across the street, there was this amazing trail that we could have kept going and going and going, but we had to turn around and go back.
Yep, it was a great state, great experience. We recommend that everybody at least once go through South Dakota. It's worth it.
And the reason it made our top 2 and not our number 1, because the weather made us leave.
Y'all, they have some ferocious summer weather in South Dakota. It's crazy.
Like baseball size or golf ball size? Hell. And Maggie's like, I ain't having that. In fact,
No.
I made him stay one night too long. I'm like, well, maybe it'll get better, because we were going to boondock our first time ever at the Badlands Overlook, and I was upset, and I was not having it with this weather. I'm like, the weather is not gonna win. And then that night our RV started rocking, and I'm like, maybe we should have left.
And our number 1 state is Wyoming.
Are y'all surprised? I think we were surprised, because South Dakota was not going off that number 1 spot, and then we hit Wyoming.
Y'all, we fell in love with Wyoming. It was just epic, surrounded by magnificent, with amazing and stunning in between. It's just, we couldn't beat it. It beat South Dakota by a long shot.
And this was without visiting one national park. Hello, Wyoming's got Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons. This was number 1 without us even setting foot in those national parks.
It has so many opportunities for hiking, for exploring. If hiking's not your thing, there's so much to do in Wyoming. And there were a lot of great people in Wyoming, and we just had such a good time. We never got bored. We never wished we were somewhere else. We really wanted to spend more time there.
Yeah, we got to spend the whole summer in Wyoming, almost 3 months. It was our first official state to boondock in, because the weather kicked us out of South Dakota. We got to explore Grouse Mountain, and that was our first official boondocking spot. I think it beat the Badlands boondocking spot.
Yeah, and I shared a picture on my personal page of it, and a friend of ours said, "Is that heaven?"
It was amazing, because the wildflowers were still out. It was like a scene of Sound of Music.
It really was.
And they had a creek right down, so every night after supper, because it was summertime, it doesn't get dark till 9, we would just go down there to the creek and hike to the creek and hike up the mountainside.
And then on your birthday, we got a magnificent hike that we had to hike, a mile and a half or so to get to the trailhead.
And then they had a running creek, and they had something called ice caves, and I was so sad to leave Grouse
Yes.
Mountain, but that was not the best boondocking spot in Wyoming. Matthew's favorite is
White Mountain on the Wild Horse Loop, right outside of Green River. Oh, you talk about epic, surrounded by wonderful. That place was amazing. And we also made Sean feel like she was about to die in that same area.
Oh yeah, if y'all haven't seen that video, Matthew's like, let's just take the truck up this part of the mountain because Garmin, hello, the RV GPS wanted us to take the RV up this road. The truck didn't even want to go up that road. I thought we were dying, but it was surrounded by wild horses that we got to see.
And no, deer. We saw deer.
And nobody was around us for about a mile and a half.
According to Google Earth, our closest neighbor was a mile and a half away.
And then our next boondocking spot was Soda Lake. We actually wound up spending a month in the Pinedale area, and those had wild draft horses around this blue water lake. It was amazing.
Y'all, and bald eagles and the osprey, we got to see them fishing in the lake. Oh, it was amazing. We missed Wyoming, but you can't just, we're nomads. We can't just park it in one state, can we? We got to move around.
And Wyoming's known for harsh winters, or maybe
Very
it would
harsh.
still be there. I don't know. And we did amazing hikes there, y'all. Like, we thought this was our amazing hike or the best hike, and then we'd find another one and another one. It was breathtaking.
If you can only do one state, at least based on our experience, y'all, we're going to say Wyoming. That was our number one, and it's going to be hard to beat, but we're going to try.
Right.